Okay, I figured out my key to success. Now I'm locked in. I learned how to open doors like a locksmith.
Welcome back. You're now locked in with DK and Atwood. I'm Atwood. Killer to my left, DK. Took last week off. I was pretty sick. Still a little congested, but I feel way better. But there was just no way I was getting out of the bed to come here
there's
last
a little
week,
bug going around.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. When you got, like, 80 people here at any given time, like, I don't want to be the catalyst for other people getting sick, right?
Down with the sickness.
Yeah. Oh, I was. I was down, like, literally. That
was me a few weeks ago. Yeah.
You had it too, huh?
Yeah.
See, mine I think was more sinuses than anything, but at first it started off with the throat. So I was like, yeah, whenever that happens, I don't chance it. I just
Megan
stay
too.
home.
It turned into her throat was like bad, and then it turned into a sinus infection.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what happened with me. And it just became congestion.
Just got off of antibiotics.
Oh, really?
Which sucked too, by the way.
Dude, So I have this routine now. If I can catch it early enough, I just do elderberry, vitamin C, and zinc. And usually if I can catch it early enough, then it'll just kind of, couple days. Mm-hmm. It'll linger, but it won't get bad, So that's kind of been my cocktail of choice.
Yeah. My cocktail of choice is... for sickness anyways, is I'll do some Onnit. I'll do my Onnit day pack, and then I'll boost it a little bit with some Paul Stamets makes some mushrooms. You know who Paul Stamets is? Mm-hmm. He's like this mushroom guru. Mm-hmm. He was on Joe Rogan. But I can't remember the name of his mushrooms, like 7... Anyways, if you look up Paul Stamets, he's got some mushroom, like, not that make you hallucinate or anything.
Right.
But it helps with
like lion's mane, shit like that.
Yeah, well, not just lion's mane, but multiple other different things that help with your immune system. And then I'll do some Onnit. Inside that Onnit pack, day pack I have, you have some Viratech and one other. It's called Shroom Tech Immunity or something.
I've heard
like
of that.
Yeah, not the Shroom Tech Sport, but you got the Shroom Tech Immunity, and then the Viratech. So I'll boost up. I'll take those, hydrate, constantly drinking water. So that helps me.
Yeah, my girlfriend will drink like the mushroom coffee. And speaking of mushrooms, I don't know how true this is. I don't know who told me this either, but in Japan, apparently they used mushrooms
It was
map the trains.
Oh, maybe not.
The underground trains.
Definitely
because
not
of like the mushrooms, the way that they would like grow. I forget the science behind it, but it was the mushrooms showed them a quicker route to get from point A to point B or something like that. Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not. So if it isn't, then, whatever. But let's talk about, combat sports this past weekend. Obviously, there was UFC Austin, some interesting things that happened there. Also, BKFC, Mike Perry and Eddie Alvarez. That went a bit different than I thought it would.
Me too.
Who did you think was going to win?
Oh, I definitely
thought Perry would win.
Yeah, I thought Perry would.
Just how it ended.
Yeah, well, you got Eddie Alvarez has just been around. So long, man. I know at my age. Right. Especially because BKFC, you don't get a purse for show and win.
Really?
Yes.
Is it all just one
flat fee?
Huh.
So that's very similar to boxing. Boxing, you get one flat fee too, to fight. And so with BKFC, they're doing one. That's what you get. Mm-hmm. Win or lose. So it's like it's a little bit easier to.
Yeah.
Say, I'm done. But he's also older. He's got a ton of fights.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's been fighting.
High-level fights.
High-level, man. Dude's been fighting for a long time, And he's just older. And Mike Perry, he's got it.
Yeah. Yeah. He found his niche, you know, because he was just so in the UFC.
Yeah.
Right.
And
he made it to the UFC. But
well, a lot of that is the wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and different things like that. Like he wants to fight. Like he's like, all right, dude, let's bang. You know what I'm saying? And he'll put you down. He's gonna stay in that fight and get it cracking. And that's like some people that are finding success in BKFC. It's because their wrestling was kind of subpar, you know, and their jiu-jitsu is kind of subpar, and then putting it all together. Here, you just got to work on a striking, you know, and it's a 2-minute round.
Yeah.
Too. So it's like we're doing 2 minutes, even though it's 5 rounds, you know, it's not 5 minutes for 5 rounds,
right?
You know, or 3 rounds at that. So
yeah, and you know, he's even in bare knuckle, like he's fought some pretty serious strikers. Now, maybe guys who aren't completely obviously known for boxing, right? Because they were MMA stars like Luke Rockhold or MVP.
I mean, Luke Rockhold,
but the guy can still fucking fight, man.
Yeah.
And same with MVP, like probably more so known for his kicks, but the dude's crafty, you know.
Yeah, BKFC is closest to a street fight legally that you can get.
Yep, I agree. I thought Mike Perry would win, but I don't know, maybe just like the OG fan in me wanted Alvarez to win, you know, because he can't have many more fights left. If he won this fight, maybe would have retired. But the way the corner threw it in, he broke 2 bones in his orbital in the first round, I think. So probably not something you want to go into 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 rounds with. Yeah,
breaking your orbital bone, it's going to mess with your sinus cavity, and you know,
and when you break it in the first round,
vision,
right?
You know, so
I don't know if I think I did, but Eddie Alvarez's aunt works down the street from here at the Circle K.
What?
Yeah. So I walked in one day with a hoodie on, and I think it might have been like one of Clay's merch hoodies. And she
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. She asked me about it. Asked me if I was a fighter. I was like, no, it's just one of my friends. And she's like, you know, my nephew fights. I was like, really? What's his name? Wasn't expecting her to say Eddie Alvarez. I was like, no shit. It's like, wow. She's like, yeah. He's getting too old for that shit. I tell him he needs to retire, but it's like,
start working at the Circle K.
Yeah, it's like that dude's still getting paid, so fuck it.
Yeah, bro.
Milk that cow while you can, right?
Yeah, and that's what's happening. These guys that are retiring that, you know, don't have a business venture. Maybe I don't know Eddie Alvarez's background or anything like that. You know, so this is just purely me speaking out of my ass. You know, a lot of fighters, you know, they just want to stay in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, man, me too. But I had talked about myself a long time ago. That's why I did so much jiu-jitsu and earned my black belt in jiu-jitsu, because I knew once the fighting is over, it's like one of the only smartest thing I've ever done. You know, is just focus on jiu-jitsu more than just fighting. Right. Just because at the end of the day, man, you want to have the belt that's tied around your waist, whether it's a black belt given by whoever, it's still a black belt. And people, if you're legit in your jiu-jitsu, your business will grow from it. And if you know how to run, you definitely need to know how to run a business. You know, I came into this thing like not knowing, scared to death of running a business or owning a business. The military definitely helped me out as far as like being able to operate
with structure
and large amounts of people, and being able to, you know, piece things together and how it's supposed to do things. So, you know, thank God I made some crazy decisions when I was younger to, you know, when I was fighting and going in the military, to be like, all right, I want to get my black belt in jiu-jitsu, you know? And so sometimes fighters, they get in this fight and they want to keep on fighting or, you know, they don't like jiu-jitsu and they don't want to train jiu-jitsu because they lean towards the striking aspect of things. And I just found that the business side of jiu-jitsu is, man, nowadays it's, you know, it's growing so much, man. It's proved to help me. So who knows if he has business ventures on the outside, you know, as far as, just different things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he's made enough money too, where like
can
Eddie
invest
Alvarez
in
could
a
go back
business,
to
yeah.
New York or Philadelphia, where he's from, and open a school, and people are gonna see that name.
Yep.
And they will go there. Like, so he
Yeah,
has the
started.
skills.
Yeah, he started in Philly at this place called the Fight Factory.
Mm-hmm.
Philly Fight Factory, and I don't know if it's still around or not. But back in the day when I first moved to Jersey, that was
Place to go.
That was a place to go, man. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be one of those guys who starts his own school, or he will always be in martial arts to some capacity.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you got people like Ally Quinta who just sell houses. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real estate agent.
Yep, sure is.
Up
Real
in-
estate agent, and that's something that's never going away.
Right.
Real estate is going to be real estate, and
Yep.
it's only getting bigger. And
The market will fluctuate, but
the market's
people
gonna
need a
fluctuate,
house.
but people are always going to buy and sell property.
Right.
Nobody's going to buy a piece of property and hold on to it for the rest of their life unless, they're passing it on to their kids or whatnot. And, so who knows?
Yeah. I didn't watch any of the other fights on that card. I know Ben Rothwell fought. I didn't see what happened with that or anything. I didn't even buy the pay-per-view. I just happened to watch it because there was, other things that were going on in the world of combat sports that I was frankly just more interested in, right?
Well, it was, UFC on for free.
Yep. UFC Austin, which
UFC
was
Austin.
Interesting card.
It was a good card to be a free card.
It was. And you tend to see that with UFC and the freebies at the end of the year. They'll start to kind of stack them on there, as they should, So somebody we both know, Joe, he fought.
Joe Selecki, for those that don't know.
And he fought, many people might only know Drakkar Close as the guy that Jeremy Stevens pushed at the weigh-ins, and he had to back out of the fight because something in his chest. And so they never got the fight.
Who was in the main event? I can't say that, guys.
In Austin?
Yeah.
So you have Beneil Dariush.
Yes, that's who.
Did he fight Beneil? I have no idea.
He got finished by him.
Maybe.
It was like a back and forth. He rocked Beneil, and then Beneil came back and knocked him out. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
That might be. I only knew of Drakkar because of the whole Jeremy Stevens thing. But so
talking about that's ridiculous, right? Like
what?
Getting pushed and then something's wrong with your chest, man.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do that as a man. I couldn't.
I probably couldn't either.
It was like a sternum thing or something. Which, man, I've had my sternum bruised before, and it's not fun.
It's
and fighting a dude like Jeremy Stevens. What's that?
Drakkar Close.
Yeah.
But it was
anyways.
It was
definitely. It was, man, and I thought it was going to go completely different than the way it was.
So did I.
Mainly Drakkar's 35 years old, and that was when I retired at 34, and I just know the way he did. Beneil, him and Beneil were getting into a banger, and Beneil got rocked, and Drakkar was trying to pull it on him, and then next thing you know, Beneil started rocking Drakkar, and then just took him out. It says overhand left. He won, and that was in round 2 in 2020. So 2020. After that, so man, canceled bout. Jeremy Stevens canceled bout, and then he won against Brandon Jenkins. This is Drakkar, and then he beat Rafa Garcia. And then another canceled bout.
Jeez.
Yep. And then Joe.
I wonder, it just says canceled? It doesn't say why?
It says canceled bout.
So we don't know if he pulled out or if the opponent pulled out.
Yep. Doesn't say.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Joe now, I believe in the UFC, I think he's 5-2, or I think he's 5-2.
Let's see here. So Joe beat Matt Wyman his first fight
Right.
in the UFC. Matt Wyman, by the way, if
Veteran.
people don't know, Matt Wyman's just a vet, dude.
He's an old tough guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he was in Tough. Yeah, he was on Tough. So
I like season 1.
Joe won, then had a canceled bout, and he fought Austin Hubbard, beat him by rear naked choke.
Good fighter.
And then he fought Jim Miller, just
Another legend.
Legend. I mean, so if I was Joe, man, I've sparred and I've trained with Jim Miller back in the day. That dude he was 32-14 when they fought. So it's like, wow, the amount of fights and the amount of scraps that dude's been in. You know what I'm saying?
And Joe, I don't want to say like domination, but dude, Joe took his back and had it like the entire fight, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and then he lost Jared Gordon.
Yes. He was a good fighter.
Yep. He grappled Donald Cerrone, beat him by rear naked choke in round 1. Joe did. And then fought Alex Da Silva, beat him by decision. Who also, man, that dude was 21-2 when they fought.
Yep.
So it's like Joe was only 10-3.
Yeah.
And then he beat Carl Deaton by rear naked choke. So 5-1 or
5-2 now.
5-2, yeah.
So I mean, listen, and he's had some pretty stiff competition like off the bat in the UFC. I mean, granted, Wyman end of his career, right?
Yeah. But Wyman's just an OG, man. I remember watching Wyman back in the day when I was coming up, and I was like, man, that dude's got a gas tank.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. And same with Jim Miller. I mean, Jim Miller is known for knocking people out, you know?
And submitting,
right. I want to say, could be wrong again, but I want to say that he was up there in the records for knockouts, or maybe it was submission. I want to say knockouts in the UFC for that weight class, though.
Man, I remember training with Jim Miller. I want to say I was 6-2 as a pro back then, and I came up to I went up to AMA Fight Club, which is in Whippany, New Jersey, and I was there for a whole week, living in a hotel, and by myself, and I think Jim Miller was getting ready. Gosh, he was getting ready for Ben Henderson. Sure was. Yeah, he was getting ready for Ben Henderson. So
great fighter.
I got to train with Jim a lot, man, and he's southpaw, and that's my kryptonite, southpaws. And I remember we were lined up to spar for a 5-minute go, and that dude kicked me with a southpaw. So he was his left kick. He just shot, boom, man, smacked me across the belly, man, with that thing, and it was hard, man. Like that was one of the hardest kicks I've ever felt in training. Shin guards and everything. So I was like, dang, man, but and then he slammed me, and it was wild, man. I tried to get an armbar on him, but that didn't happen.
Well, speaking of arm bars and slams, right? That's how Joe lost his bout this past weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, man. Because he trains with one of my good mentors, one of my mentors of mine. Ever since I was younger, coming up, a guy named by the name of Jeff Gimo, and Gastonia, North Carolina.
Is that area. The Jimmo owner?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Got you.
And but the way he lost, I've seen that before. Tim Goodwin is out of Columbia, South Carolina. So he owns TNT Martial Arts. They went 3-0 this weekend at Conflict.
I saw TNT.
Yeah.
Yep.
And anyways, Tim got caught in an armbar in Nashville. Picked this dude up, but over his head. Picked him up, and then banged him down and unconscious. So I'd seen that before.
Right.
So, but I just did not see that happening.
No.
Yeah.
No. And it was so that was the first time I think that I've seen like the Rampage power bomb, because that sort of thing doesn't happen often in the UFC.
No. It doesn't happen often in general,
Right.
But then the next fight after that, somebody got slammed.
Triangle,
and
I think he was trying, right?
Yep. And that's that Rampage right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rampage was fighting
that was
Ricardo
Pride.
Arona in Pride back in the day.
And I mean, picked him up and
And if you watch that
the most
fight,
brutal thing I've
watch
ever seen.
the Rampage Ricardo Arona fight again, that slam thing. Ricardo Arona, the man at jiu-jitsu back in the day. But anyways, when he picked him up and he slammed him, he headbutted
Oh,
Arona.
did he?
So if you immediately after that, I think you can see him bleed. Rampage was bleeding.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was
Man. Because, I mean, listen, if you slam somebody, let's just say triangle, right, and they're able to hang on to that, you just made it tighter on yourself, right? If they're able to capitalize.
But man, they gotta be like crunched up, man.
Right.
That I've tried. I was in a cage. I was getting ready for a fight, and I was in a training cage, and it was elevated just like regular UFC cage, and I tried a flying triangle on a guy, and I slammed my head out, and I was like a little loopy there for a little bit. So just imagine somebody with the force, and they're taking boom.
Yeah.
My first pro fight, I was caught in a triangle where I got locked up, and I picked that. I was like, I'm gonna rampage this guy, man. And I picked him up and slammed him, and fortunately, it let loose, and I was able to get out because it was in, what I'm saying? So fortunately I was able to get out, and then I ended up winning. That was my first pro fight.
Word.
Yeah.
And Joe, like he just got slammed right on the side of his
it was
head,
right on the
dude.
side of his noggin,
just went
man.
stiff.
And that's just like very unfortunate, man.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, it was just, they talk about it all the time, and you got caught, and that's pretty much what happened, man. I mean,
and that's the game.
he thought, and it's the old fight, Frank Mir, Tim Sylvia. I don't know if you've ever seen the fight. Frank Mir broke that dude's arm, but that's what Tim was trying to do.
Yeah,
Tim
that was the fight
Sylvia,
that Frank got his black belt.
And I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was watching The Ultimate Fighter last night with the season with him, and he said after he did that, he's like, I had to break Tim Sylvia's arm to get my black belt. Yeah,
okay.
That's one Felipe Nover.
Yeah, and he broke his forearm. He didn't break any of this. He snapped his forearm, and I think it was Herb Dean was like, "Oh, stop something." And Tim Sylvia was like, "No, we're going." He's like, "Dude, the fight's off. You just broke your freaking arm."
Yeah.
So I mean that was back in the day that they were probably all jacked up on steroids, man.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sucks. Obviously, it sucks that Joe lost and lost that way. I mean, the guy's known for his grappling. Like, I'd say that's probably his bread and butter.
Yeah.
So that sucks, but
and then
he's a cool dude. He's humble. He'll be back. He'll get to work.
He's a stud, man. He outworks. Joe will outwork everybody in the gym. Outwork everybody constantly. I know because I was his coach for a little bit.
Yeah, you guys for a while, right? You guys trained together.
He went 3 in his first 4 pro fights. I was one of his coaches. Yeah.
Nice.
And anyways, but who was it that won by Kimura? Sean Brady. Sean Brady.
Yeah, Sean Brady.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Tattoos all on his back.
Yeah,
and stuff.
dude.
Yeah.
Talk about tatted up,
that dude
man,
is
and looking
serious.
like an animal against
Serious.
Kevin Gastelum.
Makes me want freaking more tattoos. But and then Kelvin Gastelum too. Like Kelvin, I haven't seen him fight in a while. Like he looked good.
He got mauled.
Yeah, but he looked good at first.
He looked good.
He looked crispy. Until he didn't, But
he kept getting taken down and just beat up on, man. And so Sean Brady, he trains at a friend of mine's academy. We had him here, Nick Salas, and
is that
and Danny.
Is that in New York?
Jersey.
Oh,
yeah. Jersey. So Sean Brady's a Jersey Philly guy. So it's like right around in that little area.
Gotcha.
But Sean Brady used to fight in CFFC, and that's where a lot of these guys are coming out of is CFFC on the East Coast. That's where Joe was with CFFC, and next thing you know, he fights some other places around, and then gets into the UFC. So, but Sean Brady's a little savage, man.
I can't remember who he fought last, but people thought that I think he was the underdog, and he just walked right through the guy.
Yeah.
But I cannot remember who it was.
I don't remember either.
It was a bigger name though. I remember that. And the Bobby Green fight. Listen, I really like Jalen Turner. I think he's huge for the weight class just because he's so tall. He's got to struggle to get down to 155. But man, that fight, like, now that I'm not officiating anymore, I can kind of say what I want. But I will give the guy the benefit of the doubt. But
I think he was wanting him to,
right?
to
because you want to give.
You're like, give him something.
It's It's a hard thing to do sometimes because you want to let that fighter go out like,
on a shield,
right? And a lot of fighters, I'm sure they'll say in the back. I know Dominic Cruz has said it a bunch. He was like, let me go out. Do not stop the fight. There's a lot on the line, especially when you're like top 5 in the division and shit like that. But yeah, man, he took like 3 or 4 big shots that were just
I can't remember. There was a count. It was in the double digits of how many unanswered punches he took.
Right, but I'm just talking about the ones where
after
he was
unconscious.
Out. Yeah, and
that's scary, dude.
Yeah,
like I mean, you're just getting pounded on unconscious.
And he was in one of the worst positions for that because he was belly down, flattened, and just nothing he could do, and just taking
hands
shots.
On it, hands here.
Yep,
hands on his belly, dude.
That was horrible.
Just ding, ding, ding.
And it's bad whenever the commentators are like, "What are we doing? He's out!" Screaming at the ref.
Yeah, was it Bisping and?
Bisping.
Cormier. Was it Cormier?
No, Cormier wasn't there. I can't. I don't know the other guy's name.
Yeah, the guy that's acting like Joe Rogan almost.
Yeah, well, he does like the color commentary, so he's like the John Anik.
John Anik.
Maybe Paul Felder, Bisping, and somebody else.
Yeah, I don't think it was Paul Felder.
No, I don't know, but in any case, they were yelling at him. Man, that was probably one of the worst ones I've seen since the Steve Mazzagatti one. Years and years ago, there was a female fight.
Mazzagatti never came back.
No, sir.
Dana didn't like him though.
No, well, there was a couple. He didn't like Steve Mazzagatti. He said a lot of shit about him. Didn't like Mario Yamasaki either.
Not in the UFC. Not doing that anymore.
Nope. But this guy, I don't know. That was horrible.
Who knows if he'll be back?
Well, I don't know. Well, I think he will, just because afterwards, Dana's like, man, that guy knew he fucked up and he apologized. And he's like, that's the difference between this one and the ones I've seen in the past. Like, people didn't see any wrong.
Yeah.
Didn't see any fault. So who knows? He might. And then who was the main event? Why am I forgetting who the main event was?
Beneil Dariush.
Oh, that's it. Beneil Dariush. Now, I don't know how to say that dude's name that he fought.
Yeah.
Something weird because he's foreign.
Yeah.
But that guy who Beneil fought got into it with Bobby Green in the Fighter Hotel. Did you see that?
Yes, I did see that, and they were talking.
They actually got to a point where they about started scrapping. They were like, the two teams.
I saw that on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Armand.
Yeah. Good luck.
Something. Tsarukyan.
I don't know why. I'm glad I didn't try it. I was gonna say Amir, but it's Armand.
And that dude's a hammer. That guy's a hammer. 21-3.
He's serious.
Man, he looks. Yeah, he's young. See how old this kid is. I call everybody kids.
Well, we're getting to that age, Derek.
Yeah, I know, man. See, 27.
27.
I was 27, 28. I could just keep going and keep training, man. So that's awesome.
Yeah, they'll give that dude. Beneil he had to have been, like top 5, top 6 ranked in that division?
Yeah. This kid's, now this kid's number 5.
Now he's number 5?
Yeah.
Armand?
And that's just worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not UFC. So he was number 8 in the UFC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, his last fight before Beneil was he won by ground and pound in round 3. And then decision, ground and pound, win by ground strikes, decision. Yeah, and that's just in the UFC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that dude's career in the next, give it a year and a half, 2 years, see what he can do, because he looked amazing.
Yeah, he did.
And
I like Bobby Green, though, man. I like Bobby Green.
Too.
When I saw that altercation, I'm like, dude, Bobby Green looks like he's about to deck this kid.
Yeah, he tried. He tried. I don't know if it was Armand where they actually went at it. And I'm not talking about the one where he was up against the wall and Armand kind of like shoved him by the throat.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I'm talking about when they were in the lobby and Bobby Green and one of his guys walked up on his team and like started chasing him and going after him.
Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, dude, I love Bobby Green. I love his personality. I love his style. I think the dude is swift.
Yeah.
So great card. Then next weekend is the Patty and Ferguson card.
Yeah.
That's the one that we were kind of talking about. I'm sticking by my dude Ferguson. I think he can get it done, and I think he will get it done. I hope he does. That'd be cool. I like them both, but I just want to see Tony in his career with a couple wins. I think he deserves it, man.
Yeah. And then this weekend I leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
For Atlanta. We got an amateur fighting, and then we got a pro fighting. Austin Coleman, he's fighting. Our amateur fighting is Josh Cook. Josh is going to be a hammer too. He keeps training. That kid's been with me since he was like 17.
How old is he now?
21 or 22, something like that. Maybe, same with Austin. Austin's been with me since he was 18 or 19.
And that
Austin's
promotion
like
is
26.
NFC?
NFC, yeah. And that's out of Atlanta, Georgia. And they used to be called Wild Bill's Fight Night. Yeah. I fought at Wild Bill's Fight Night in 2009, in July of 2009. And I took that fight not that short of notice, but pretty short of notice. And then I fought 3 weeks later, same month. I fought 3 weeks later. Won both of them. Won one by triangle, one by arm bar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
Is that going to be a pay-per-view this weekend? Do they do that?
Yeah, it'll be,
Sweet.
Yeah.
Because I'll definitely get that.
Austin's fight number 13, so he's the co-main event. So you got the co-main event. He's the one right before the co-main event. So
right on.
Yeah, so should be a packed house.
New opponent too?
New opponent, yeah. So we had to switch opponents about, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
And just out of nowhere, get a message from the matchmaker. He's like, hey, so-and-so wants to pull out because he got a concussion during training and he doesn't feel like he'll be prepared for the fight. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, I wonder how many concussions I got in training camp that I didn't know about.
Right.
Is what it is. We'll just, hey, we'll try to do it next time. We'll try to, get that fight going. Next time. I feel like this is a better matchup anyways. So
I'm stoked. So we'll be dropping an embedded episode on Austin Monday at 5. We've been shooting a little of that, and since I can't be there, I'll buy the pay-per-view and use their footage.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't copyright me.
Nah. I don't think so, man. They're just a small promotion that they're going to want the exposure, as much exposure they can get.
Hopefully. And so, yeah.
And now when I say small promotion, like they're the best in
I get it.
In Georgia.
The regional, though, is what you meant.
Yeah.
So we'll have that dropping on Monday. And then next week, going up to Ohio. And this is why I can't go to Atlanta, because I had already committed to go to Ohio with Jeremiah to record his stuff. I think Cage Thunder or something is the name of the promotion that he's fighting at.
Yeah.
They'll have Julian Lanes fighting on there.
God, man, that guy just
he's everywhere.
Everywhere.
He's everywhere.
I hate that guy, man.
You don't like him?
Yeah, I don't like
Why?
him at all. I just don't like him, man.
Oh, okay.
A teammate of mine fought Julian Lane a long time ago, and he's just a dork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just a dork.
I wasn't sure if there was like a personal experience with him, or
I mean, it was I mean, I didn't have anything. It was just him just being a dork and being a weirdo, with my but my teammate George Sullivan at the time put a stamp on his ass.
Really?
Yeah, just hammered him.
Well, obviously Julian had his little come up on the Ultimate Fighter with the "Let Me Bang, bro." That's kind of his thing, and he took that on and ran with it. So yeah, well, I'll be going to Ohio with him next week, and then so next Monday embedded with Austin. The Monday after that embedded with Jay-Z again. So just trying to stay busy, man, and grow the channel in any way that we can, and hey, just see what happens. Yeah. And we'll go from there. Before we get out of here, I wanted to mention that if you are in the area, in the Myrtle Beach area, whether you train here or you don't, Derek just got some new merch in. We're actually wearing both of them right now. Oh. It's what green is that? I don't want to. Is that like
they call it military green? That's
okay.
Kind
of like a darker olive.
But in the military, we called it OD green.
OD green?
OD green.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hoodies, OD green. They're polyester and cotton mix. Nice feel to them.
Dude, they are actually, man. I like the little string on it too. I don't think it's gonna get sucked out in the dryer.
Oh yeah, like the small ones will. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the black crew necks as well. Feel good, fit good. So
feel good, fit good.
If you're in the area, oh yeah, you look good, feel good, play good, or perform. If you're in the area, Christmas present, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Running low, man. We ordered almost.
Dude, they
100.
always go quick.
Yeah, we ordered 100.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's like with our stuff, it's just, man, it goes. And
yeah.
So, speaking of which, our rash guards and shorts are in country, so they should be here next week.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Did you get extras of those?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so whenever those come in, we'll show you some, and then if you're in the area, you don't have to train here. If you just train and you like the way it looks or whatever, then stop by and just cop it.
It'd be a whole lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it would be. But in any case, we appreciate the support.
Yes,
any and every way that you support, whether you're commenting or you're watching, you're liking, you're sharing, whatever, subscribing. We appreciate that. And sorry about last week, but it just wasn't going to work. I wasn't feeling good, and I didn't want to take the risk of getting anybody else sick. That's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And so we had a little break off, but we're back in the saddle and keep this shit going. So, you want to take us out?
Yeah, man. So, thank you guys again for watch us babble for a little shorter episode today. But we appreciate you guys. So if you haven't done so, like, comment, subscribe, please. It really helps us out, and it's the best way that you can help us out is just by liking, even commenting or subscribing. And that's the way things work these days with this digital age. The more you're interactive with the what we put out on the intraweb, it helps us out in little ways that you don't notice that much, but we notice, and I thank you guys. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and till next time.
That's it. Till next time. Have a good one.
Out.